will skin you and wear you like a raincoat.
Whoa.
Not the raincoat. Generic Control and the Duck Goesmoo here, back with another DBcember reaction. Today we are reacting to, I think it's supposed to be 8, 7, 6, and 5 of the top techniques in Dragon Ball. I've only ever seen Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Last week I did 12 through 9, I believe. I'll leave that video right up there if you want to check that out. I'll also link down below in the description. I know I kind of screwed up in the overlay. Victor pointed out to me I didn't include 9, I only did the 3, and I don't know. It's because I'm making so many videos. I'm making close to 20 videos a week. I'm doing it all myself, but I have great people like Victor that help me out with the Discord server and run all that great stuff. But I'm learning a lot about these techniques. Last week was some really cool ones. Some ones I knew and some I did not know. So definitely check that out. Also, somebody said I should make a video of all my DBcember videos, like make a compilation, just like they do, where they make the individual videos. But I do it like 3 or 4 parts in one. But somebody said I should take all of them and put them and just make one longer video for all of you once I'm done. So I might actually do that. Let me know if you'd like that as well. I do read all the comments and reply to a lot of them as well. So thank you so much for being here. Shout out to the patrons. They get the videos day early. Love to not have the paywall on the channel. And I'm excited to get into this, and I hope you are too. Next week will be the end of the techniques, and then we'll move on to the next thing, which I don't think it was Sagas. I think Sagas is this year. But let's go ahead and jump on into it. Alright. Oh, right. We're literally supposed to start at 8.
So imagine a
Hell's
series
Grenade.
where most of your techniques are beams and balls of energy, with their instructions being
Last week's really
Step
good.
1, charge. Step 2, fire. Step 3, hope they die. And imagine you're
Sponsored.
also in a series where the concept of strategy has consistently been told to sit further back on the bus until at some point you're pretty sure it's running behind the bus, begging for it to slow down. So, what happens when, during one of the most entertaining fights in the series, Piccolo finds himself struggling to put down his opponent, and so he uses, wait for it, an actual strategy! You get the Hell Zone!
And he's trying to miss, so it builds behind him.
Lady
Or
has a bone
appears
for this
behind him.
technique, but frankly, it's got me at half-mast over here too. While it's definitely an involved
A
technique,
half-mast?
I'd say it even stretches what qualifies as a technique. It's unlike any other power play we'd seen in the series before and would rarely see after. It's a trap!
And
Yeah.
unless you catch on
It's a
quick to
tarp.
what Piccolo is doing, which 17 did not, you can find yourself
Until the end.
surrounded by a minefield of energy ready to blow you into a billion pieces with a single misstep.
Which I'm pretty sure still didn't
17
stop
did
him.
figure out a way to save himself
Yeah.
with a last-second, well-timed barrier, but the concept and execution of this technique is hard to ignore, and while Piccolo only
that the only
uses
time
a
he used it?
few
Oh,
more
well.
times,
Okay.
super, it's great to see that his
Super.
self-proclaimed title of strategist isn't all talk and no walk.
But it's not just about the series, and that's where I come in. This technique is a blast
In
in
the
the
game.
games, used for zoning,
Well, that's like a
trapping, good
reenactment
old
almost.
damage. Hell, in fighters it became so broken they had to patch it.
That's a point in its favor?
2 OP, please
Yes.
nerf, is a point in anything's favor. Except diseases. I wonder if there's a tier list for diseases.
Is
Ooh, I
it?
wonder
Why
if
is...
West Nile is on there.
Look, I'm not gonna pretend like I
Why
get
is
all the
Twitter-
hype here. It's only ever used once in all the original canon, and it's not exceptionally cool looking. But I suppose it does have some major versatility, and while it was sparingly used, it's also one of Piccolo's most memorable techniques beyond the Makan Kosa.
Piccolo has a lot of moves
Wait
on
a
this
second.
list.
This
I can see
rated
as well.
higher than the
At least
Makan
2.
Kosa Po?
Kaiser, if anyone is taking the placement of these moves that seriously, they're honestly missing the spirit of this list. Yeah, it's rated
Spirit.
higher than the Makan Kosapo, but we're also
Where's
pulling
Spirit
from,
Bomb gonna be?
God, probably 100 different techniques. Once you've entered the top 12, placement hardly matters anyway.
Also, you pouted like
That's
a
true.
bitch baby every time we knocked this move lower on the list.
You can't prove that.
Besides the video we recorded of us coming up with the list?
I fought for justice, Kaiser, and I will not apologize, and I
Wait,
will
they recorded a
not
video of them
I
making
don't
it?
think you should. While we don't want to just honor the underdog and promote the underrated out of pity, I think it's cool that we could come together to show this awesome strategic move some love.
Look, I'm just saying, the Super Ghost Kamikaze attack is just a better version of this move.
Oh, now look
The
who's
what?
pouting.
7.
Also, Home for
This is
Blues
just
episode 5
teleportation,
just
right?
came out.
Why do we got to
Instant
call it that?
transmission.
Like,
Why is
a
this
lot of-
technique?
A lot of things for that.
Well, Shingon Ito does basically mean instantaneous movement, but it's a lot like how flying is called the sky dancing technique in Japanese.
Is
or
it?
Kujutsu. It's essentially the martial arts term for it.
Yeah, but
It
instant
is
transmission
just
sounds
flying.
so clinical.
It's not like a fighting
it is all
move,
the
it's like-
mysticism of a mechanic giving me the rundown of my car. But we digress. It's here at number 7, and I'd argue for good reason.
A lot of the techniques we've listed so far are battle techniques.
Yeah,
largely,
this is-
if not solely, meant for either doing damage
Escaping.
or maximizing damage. But this move is something more versatile and
Also, y'all
frankly
told me
more
about hit?
enticing
Oh my
than any of
God.
the other techniques on this list.
let's cut straight to the chase here. Travel blows. It doesn't matter how much you might love seeing new places and trying new things. Forcing yourself into a little metal box of any kind for any amount of time is a bitch. And the farther you have to go, the worse it is.
What if you could travel to Africa in the
Elephants.
blink of an eye? Japan? Finland?
Why Finland?
I honeymoon there.
I repeat, why
Really?
Finland?
What we're trying to say is this technique regularly makes the top 5 of anyone who's ever
Teleportation.
asked or been asked the
The
question,
super speed.
if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Never
Wait,
be
what was
late
number
for work
1?
Again, spend weekends in any part of the world you want, and never be caught by the police smoking pot
The-
in your
the
car.
most important
It's a
thing,
top
you don't
tier
have to
ability,
travel.
and that's not even counting
Traveling's
for how it assists
expensive.
in battle.
An opponent may be able to follow your movements even at your fastest, but there is no accounting for full-on instant movement. Getting
Unless
behind
you're the
your
Flash, you
opponent
can teleport
is a
faster,
cinch,
or
as is
run
escaping
faster.
their attacks.
Let's be real. The instant transmission Kamehameha is
He goes
one of
behind
the
him.
absolute
Yep.
coolest iterations of the classic technique in the series, and it's a perfect example of how to utilize this technique in battle. Dodging and counterattacks.
I
with
go back
data.
and rewatch
Your ass
episode
is grass
60.
And Goku's got the grinder.
It's also fantastic for getting into the battle in just the nick of time. Before, say, semi-perfect Cell can finish off Ten Shinhan, or when he needs to find the legendary Crybaby on New Vegeta.
It's worth noting that a huge downside to this technique is the requirement that you're able to find a power signature to set your bearing. In other words, if you
Yeah.
want to go to Japan, you better be able to sense your friend Mariko there, or you're f***ed. It also requires a lot of concentration, though it does seem to become a lot easier to use as time goes on.
Couldn't you
And
just do like
meanwhile,
anybody
the
that's
gods
famous? Like, couldn't you
technically
be like,
have a better
if you know
version
the
of this
president of a
technique that
country,
doesn't
can you
require
just
to
teleport
lock
to them?
onto anyone's
You're
energy,
bad.
but it doesn't seem to be a technique that can be learned by mortals and thus has less access to our heroes. It's also a more boring version, to be honest. A drawback makes it more interesting.
So, if you've got the tools to use it correctly, it's unrivaled in
Goku wearing a
terms of just
suit.
how truly useful it can be, in and outside of battle.
Yeah.
Did you know the original plan to eradicate the Saiyans game had an instant spirit bomb?
Wait, really?
A what? No
In an
charge up?
ultimate ending to the game, Goku throws a big-ass spirit bomb, but then teleport blasts Hachiyak, distracting him long enough for it to hit.
Did you find that out while looking up the technique on Dragon Ball Wiki?
Yep, and most of the migraines have worn off.
6.
Fair enough.
Both basic.
Oh, come
Final
on!
Flash.
It's the final fucking Flash! How is it not going to be this high on the list?
What about Solar
Frankly,
Flare?
I think it should be higher.
I'm actually torn. On one hand, it's Vegeta's most famous technique, and apparently his most
What about
powerful.
Gallic Gun?
In a majority of the games, it's his highest level attack, and the pose is, frankly, unforgettable. On the other hand,
Starfish.
it's actually only ever used once in the manga proper, and a couple other times in Z Filler and Super.
And it's just a
filler.
beam. A
There's a
big
lot of
yellow
filler.
beam that hits Cell and does jack squat.
Just a beam? If this thing had hit Cell head on, you couldn't have filled an ashtray with his remains. The damn thing is so
Wait,
strong
what?
that the build up to it shakes the entire planet. And whether or not you're watching
Huh?
the Japanese version, the English version, or, and I'll fucking say it, the abridged version, the moment he brings out this attack is full on monumental.
I gotta show
Kamehameha
Kirby
in
Dragon
the
Ball Z
series
version.
has built up like this. And the payoff?
That's true.
The beam angles off the planet into space. If
Don't
that's
flicker.
basic, then pumpkin spice me up, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, give it up for Vegeta's
never
monumental
had pumpkin
moment.
spice.
Spends an entire episode charging up his attack only to miss, and then he never breaks it out again. At least when Piccolo one and done his technique, he double killed 2 guys who were stronger than him, and I think we can all agree it looked sick as shit. Meanwhile, the
That's
only
true.
thing that makes the Final Flash special is that it's named. Vegeta's utilitarian nature extends to his techniques. They hit hard, but they're boring.
I'm frankly surprised to hear this coming from you of all people.
Why? Because I play Vegeta? I'm more than just the
That's
characters
true.
I play, Kieran. What if it was shaped like a dragon? Would that make it your favorite technique?
He has one of those. It's called the Dragon Final Flash, and it's in Heroes.
Dragon
Heroes is
fi-
garbage, and so are you.
I will skin you and wear you like a raincoat.
Whoa, okay, well, come on, let's bring it in. Deep breaths, you guys.
Not the raincoat.
Let's just remember what we're here for, okay? This is a celebration of
We're
the
here for
series,
violence.
not a drunken brawl.
Sorry, you're right. We talked about this, and it's here for a reason.
It's more than just about the look of the technique or its success rate.
The Final Flash is a staple of Vegeta's character. As I said before, it's not only in almost
He's
every
blue.
single game he's in, but it's almost always his most powerful
Jiren
attack.
is not
That or a
worried.
variation of it. And while it's only ever used once in the manga canon, it becomes Vegeta's most commonly used technique in the entire Dragon Ball franchise, and especially in Super, where it's essentially his Kamehameha. Although it,
Does-
I mean, he's
does he
he's
ever
got
use a
the
Kamehameha?
Gallic gun, but
Which I might
Gallic
add,
gun.
I think looks a lot cooler than this. But you're right, the Final Flash is Vegeta's most memorable
guessing
move,
Galagan's not
partially
in
because
this
that
list.
pose is
Not surprised,
unforgettable. Although it's pretty funny that Toriyama would give him an early rendition of this technique in his fight against Raccoon, known later in the games as the Final Crash.
Vegeta's got a short list of techniques, but when it comes to one with lasting power, the Final Flash rings in at the top. From its pose, to its power, to its persistence in the fandom.
Also, it looks so much better than the Final Shine attack. Ugh.
Yeah,
What is the
I'm not
Final
gonna die on
Shine?
that hill. I also wouldn't
I
dare
kinda like that
roll it in
color.
with this technique. Whoever thought that Vegeta should combine his most interesting attack with his most boring attack should be demoted.
What?
Maybe flogged.
So, like, the Dragon Final
What's his
Flash.
most boring attack?
It's,
Final Flash that shoots a dragon. Exactly that. And it's amazing.
What is it with you and dragons?
Dragons
They're
make
cool.
everything better, Lanny!
5,
He's not wrong. This will be the last one we're doing today. Destructo
Alright, guys,
Disc.
now you have to defend your choice.
I believe you'll find me more than up to the task. This technique is
Did kill
one of the
Frieza,
most popular
kind of.
in the entire franchise, and it belongs to a character who, while a staple of the series since the very beginning, has long since become a secondary character in every regard. However, the Kenzan as a technique is one of the trickiest, most badass, and underappreciated on this list. While a majority
fact that it's
of techniques in
Krillin's
Dragon
move.
Ball, especially the most famous of them all, are concussive and explosive. This one is all about
It is a
slicing
frisbee.
and a Dyson. An energy disc
Just a
so
frisbee
thin,
of
yet
death.
so powerful, it threatened to decapitate Nappa, an opponent far stronger than Krillin, only having missed its target because Vegeta was smart enough to notice it before his partner could be permanently shortened. And after that, it
Ah,
would manage
Frieza.
to dismember a part of Frieza's tail, an opponent, I should emphasize, literally thousands of times stronger than him. In stark
Yeah.
contrast with many of his peers,
Well, then Frieza
Krillin
used his
created
own.
a technique that could potentially handle any opponent, no matter the gulf in strength. It's implied that there's no organic
Really?
being that could withstand the razor's edge of the Kenzan. Not
Is that-
including anime filler bullshit. This elevates it phenomenally for me, especially when you factor in its awesome design and killer pose. But
So,
that's not all. This
that could be
handy-dandy
used on
amputator
anybody?
comes with multiple settings.
Amputator.
You can toss it and forget it, or you can manipulate it with your key, like Yamcha's Spirit Ball, to follow your opponent. Want to use more than one at a time? Multiply that bitch! Their dexterity better be maxed.
That
or
does look
they'll
kinda
be
cool.
losing more than just a little off the top. Need to ring out your opponent or use the environment against them? Then take out their footing or drop a fucking rock on them. You can't
Huh.
lose with the Kienzan.
Unless you
Or you
miss,
can cut a
Which
tail.
Krillin does.
like, all the time.
He kind of never actually hits anyone dead on.
No, except Cell, but then it just...
I said that doesn't count! Sorry.
That doesn't count?
Yeah.
Was that
There have been
filler?
more misses than hits. But hey, you miss every shot you don't take. And he takes a lot of
True.
shots. This
Yeah,
is actually
yeah.
one of the most frequently used techniques in the entire series, even if it's not always explicitly called the Kienzan.
Ah,
Yeah,
Frieza.
sometimes it's called Destructo Disc.
Oh, that name is so
He
corny.
did in the
Okay, what
Krillin
would you have
voice.
called it in English?
Simple, just call it Razor Disc.
Oh, I know somebody with a Laserdisc player. Great video quality.
I like
Right
Destructo
down.
Disc. I don't have a
Oh my
problem
God.
with it.
Seriously though, we love this technique too, for the million reasons you listed. We'd just be remiss not to point out its shortcomings. When you have a technique
That always
literally
misses.
everybody ends up ripping off before the end of the series, you know you've got something truly special.
It needs to move
How
faster.
are we supposed to explain that Solar Flare didn't make the list?
They can watch the honorable mentions
So-
video for that.
Fun fact,
I don't
when
know.
you choose Taka's voice in Xenoverse 1 and 2, when you create a character, he says, pizza time, when he uses the Kienzan.
Does he
Hey,
actually
does anyone hear music in the
do
background?
Takahata?
4,
Oh man, that's where we're stopping for today. Come back next week for the final 4 techniques of Dragon Ball. Let me know if you want me to do a compilation video, because I could definitely take all of them. And of course, they would have like the timestamps and whatnot, so you can skip through the video. But it basically just cut out my intro and outro, and basically just like splice it all together. I could definitely do that if you'd be interested in doing that. Please let me know. I do read all the comments and reply to a lot of them as well, so you know I'm reading them. Destructo just made this list, huh? I didn't actually know it was that good. I know that they kind of like joke about it and stuff, and I know that that's like kind of what cut Frieza in half, but it was also Frieza's own Destructo Disc. So, oh man, that was kind of cool. What is the top 4 going to be? Oh man, well, I have no idea. is there? I'm expecting there's going to be at least 1 or 2 techniques I've never heard of. It's from something outside of Dragon Ball Z Bridges never show, and then probably 2 are going to be from Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. I would imagine. Well, probably Dragon Ball Z because I remember Dragon Ball didn't actually have that many like key related things. So, I'm excited to get into that. I hope you are too. I hope you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And patrons get videos there early. I just had to remind you all of that. Also, Insane patrons get a chance to win a signed deck. This one's going to her FOT for March. So if you want to get April's duck, go ahead and join the Patreon and get all my videos there early. Get your name down below to be seen by hundreds of thousands of people, which is just crazy to think about. But thank you so much for being here. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it made your day better because that's what I'm here for. But until the next video, take care and cue the music.
We were playing